Hello, my name is Haley Croxton, and I am going to be walking you through one of my pressure plate puzzle codes that I have. I'm only going to do one since they are all pretty much the exact same base from each other. I'll just start off with the biggest one, which is right here, and I will take you through the pressure plate code, this obelisk slash wall code, and then the final part of it here in the code for here. With that being said, let's show you how it works. So right now the goal is to turn all of these green before the timer runs out, and you will know that you have done it when your ball turns green. And then after so long they start to turn back to orange, and once you are green you are allowed to come in here and grab your obelisk and your puzzle piece. Come over here, and now that you are green, you get to go in the green tunnel and start all over your run. Now for the code behind that. This is the pressure plate code for the green. We start off with checking to make sure that the character is the ball character, and if that's valid, then we go on to make sure that the pressure plates aren't already blue, or green I should say, because this is the green puzzle. This is our checking condition to then see, alright, well if it is true and they are blue, then we need to delay and turn them back into orange so that way they can be reused again in case the player messes up. And then we set it to, no, it's not green because it's orange. And if it's false, then that means that we need to turn it green, right? And then we set it to be green after we set the material to be green. Now we come over here to our when condition, and I only showed you this first node. The rest of that code is repeated, but for each separate mesh on the pressure plates that I'm changing. And once all of them are all green, then we can turn our ball green. And once our ball turns green, then we go over to our green rune, and we do the same thing. We check to make sure it is the ball character, and then we check the material of our character to make sure it's green, and if it is green, then we add a score. We add one score to their rune score, and then we destroy the actor of the green rune. And then, after that, you go over to the obelisk. Now this one's a little bit more complicated. First, we start off by setting all of our checks to being false, because at the start of the game, they will never be lit up, they will always be false. Then I needed to grab my checkpoint that I wanted to restart the players to, which is my beginning checkpoint. So I accessed that here and set my variables here so that way I could use them later. Same thing with the last code of I just reused the same code for different aspects of the meshes that I'm changing. So the logic is still the same, it's just different variables being plugged in. So we check to see if it's the ball character again, and then we check the material of the ball color, and if the material is blue, then they are allowed to go into the blue tube. And once they are in the blue tube changes a color into the World Grid Preview color, which is basically a super bright white color. It's obvious that it's changed. And then we set it to that the blue tube is now lit. And then we teleport our actor back to the start of the location so that way they can go back to the other paths and finish them off. And once all of these are lit to the same color, then we grab the gate that is blocking the player from being able to win the game, and we destroy it so that way it is now open for the player to get to their game. And that is pretty much the entirety of one of my pressure plate puzzles. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.